Shalom, everyone. I hope that you're doing well today. I wanted to share a very simple thought, but an inspirational thought with you today. There is an interesting thing that we can find in the book of Psalms with regards to the spelling of the name of Joseph, the son of Jacob, Yosef ben Yaakov. A very interesting thing that we can find here, which brings us an important question. Did the psalmist accidentally misspell the name of Yosef? So today I want to share with you the spelling, the proper spelling of the name of Yosef, which is spelt like this. We can see the Yod, the Samech, and the Fe Sofit here, these three letters in Hebrew, Yosef. But something very interesting that we can find about this and how the spelling was changed whenever we get to the 81st Psalm. But before we go to that, we need to investigate just for a moment the life of Joseph. So we know what happened to Joseph when he was betrayed by his brothers and was sold into slavery. And we know his life was one of integrity. In fact, we can find something in the 114th Psalm and the third verse that says, "The sea saw it and fled. Jordan was driven back." The sea saw it and fled, talking about the Red Sea, and the Jordan was driven back. So we have to ask ourselves the question, what did the sea see? Hang with me now. What did the Red Sea see that caused it to flee? What caused the Jordan to be driven back? Well, there's an interesting thing that we can find here. One commonality that we find amongst the children of Israel during this time was not the Ark of the Covenant, because they did not have the Ark of the Covenant yet whenever they passed through the Red Sea. Of course, it was there with the Jordan. But what was the common element that was brought both through the Red Sea as well as the River Jordan? The only commonality that we find here was the bones of Joseph, the bones of Joseph. And so the old scholars have said that the thing that the sea saw and that the Jordan saw was the bones of Joseph. And it's interesting what the psalmist in the 114th Psalm used. He used the word flee, that when the Red Sea saw the bones of Joseph, it fled back. Why does it use this verb, flee? The reason is because Joseph, when he was served with an opportunity to sin, he fled that sin. He ran away from the wife of Potiphar. And it was because that he took a decision to flee from sin, to flee from lust, to flee from fornication, in honor of the fact that he fled. God made the Red Sea and as well the Jordan River to flee before the children of Israel. In essence, that tells us that the very decisions that Joseph made in Eretz Mitzrayim, in the land of Egypt, had a lasting impact upon his descendants, and in fact, the descendants of the Hebrews. So now, whenever we go to the 81st Psalm, I want to show this to you because I believe it is so powerful. When we go to the 81st Psalm and verse number 5, this is in the King James Version. If you're reading it in a Hebrew Bible, which I expect that Perhaps some of you can read Hebrew. This will be in the 6th verse in the 81st Psalm. The psalmist spells Joseph's name differently. In fact, the psalmist here adds this letter Hey, so that when it is pronounced, it is Yah-oseph. Why did the psalmist do this? It was actually a way to give honor to Joseph. By adding this letter, we now have the name Yah, or the name of the Lord. We use it all the time, don't we? Whenever we're praying, whenever we're praising, and we say hallelujah. Some of you said it, I think. Hallelujah. The psalmist put Yah, or Lord, in Joseph's name. The reasoning for this is because that the very actions of Joseph, when he was in the land of Egypt, brought glory and exaltation to the name of the Lord. And because he lived in such a way, and from his very own words, when served with an opportunity to commit the sin of fornication, he said, I cannot do this evil and sin against God. Even though his father was not there watching him, his brothers were not there watching him, he could have done it, but he made the conscious choice to run away from sin, to flee from sin. And that lasting impact upon the children of Israel is memorialized in the way that the psalmist declared, Joseph, his name is something that we can memorialize, his behaviors, we can memorialize the name of God. He brought glory to the name of the Lord. And so for that reason, the letter was added to show all of posterity, and especially those who can receive inspiration from the fact that he fled from fornication, he fled from sin, and because of that, his life would be memorialized as one that brought glory to the name of the Lord. Let us all flee from fornication. Let the Red Sea and the Jordan roll back out of the way of our descendants, because certainly it can be said the decisions that we make do have an impact upon future generations. God bless each one of you. Sei gesund.